Hello everyone. I wanted to share a little story with you about my cat. And a few people have commented on her name, Serendipity. So I wanted to tell you the story of how she came into my life and the meaning of her name. And I've tried to do this video before and I end up crying, so we'll see how it goes today. In 2011, my cat Tigger that I had before Serendipity, he got really sick, and he was my everything. He was the cat that I had when I moved out and lived on my own. He went through some of the really terrible times of my life with me. He was actually a registered support animal, and he meant a lot to me. And he got really sick in December of 2011. He was 11 and a half years old. He had diabetes, and he had gone into pretty much an organ failure. Everything that could go wrong with diabetes went wrong with him. And I ended up taking him to the vet, to an emergency vet, and had to make the decision of whether to put him down or to see if we could make him better. And I couldn't lose him. And so we went through some really expensive and intensive medical care. And I always believed that he would get better. And he did. And one of the pictures that I hold dear to me is this picture here. This was us in UC Davis Medical Hospital for pets. And we would have these talks every night because Mom believed that he would get well. And he's actually in the middle of getting a blood transfusion in that photo. They ended up actually typing him wrong and gave him the wrong blood, which could have killed him since he had a rare blood type. But he pulled through. And I got another 3 years with him. And in June of 2014, he got sick again. And this time I couldn't make it better. And he was hospitalized. And I had made the decision that I was going to go get him and bring him home, and I called it kitty hospice, that I just wanted him to be loved and to be at home with me, and to just know that in this last few days, how loved he was. And when I got to the vet to pick him up, he was on mandatory oxygen and wouldn't have even survived the ride home. So I made that horrible decision and had to let him go. And his name was Tigger. And as you saw, he was an Orangey. Orangies have always been my favorite kitties. And after I lost him, I wasn't in a place to have another cat. I didn't want another cat. I certainly didn't want another orange cat. And I was getting ready to go into, in a couple months, was going to be a really busy time for me at work. And so I didn't want a cat. And then one day I was lonely and I wanted a cat. And we have some feral cats. And I thought, I'm going to go out in the yard and see if I can make friends with one of those cats. And so I'm sitting on the sidewalk between our house and our next door neighbor's house. And I had kind of picked out which cat I thought I wanted. And I was trying to give her some treats and make friends with her. And I looked up into the neighbor's yard, and right in front of their garage was this little orange tabby. And I instantly knew. I said, that's the one. I need her. And it took 2 days of chasing her through the neighbor's garage and yard. Very nice neighbors to let me do this because I was obsessed with this cat. And I had to have this cat. So I was able to catch the cat, put her in an outdoor cage, had to give her some flea medicine before we brought her into the house. Her first night was really rough. Obviously hadn't been used. She was about, she'd actually been born in our yard. Been born just, I want to say about 4 months. She was about 4 months old. So I knew when she'd been born. And this is less than a month after I had lost my Tigger. And so her first night, being in a cage, she made a mess of herself with the cat litter and the cat box and needed a bath. And let me tell you, when I caught her, catching her was not easy. There was some blood involved on my part because she had bit and scratched me so hard, and now I had to give her a bath. Ironically, she let me bathe her. It was so weird. So I gave her a bath and cleaned her ears and clipped her claws. And she was laying in my lap. And remember, this is less than 1 month after I'd put Tigger down. And I didn't want a cat, and I didn't want an orange cat. But I was already falling in love with this cat. And she was sitting in my lap. I was sitting on the ground outside. And I started crying because I felt like I was replacing Tigger. And I didn't know if it was okay or not. And I just said, Tigger, if this is okay, I need a sign. And the kitten in my lap immediately started purring. And that was my sign that it was okay. And so I named her Serendipity, because she came into my life when I needed her most. And it was okay with Tigger for me to have her. I wasn't replacing him. I was making room in my life for my new cat. So that's how she got her name. That's the story of my little girl. You're going to see a lot of her around because she's a part of my life and I love her dearly. You'll also see a lot of Tiggers in my life. That's why I got a Tigger tattoo. I actually got this on my wrist a year after he passed away. So there's still a lot of Tigger in my life. I still miss him dearly. But I've learned to love another orange cat. My little girl, my Serendipity. Just wanted to share the story with you all. See you later. Bye.